Thanks for being here. Our next presenter is John Gaskell. He is with the Department of General Services with the state of California. And he's going to talk about doing business with the state of California. So let's welcome John.
All right, thank you everyone. Yes, this is the sort of an introductory course into doing business with the state of California. And I stress introductory because you can go through all of these steps, and it is a process to get you from, signing up on CaliProcure to getting the contract. So I want to stress that from the onset, that this is a process, but stress even more that we are here to help all throughout. You can see my contact information here. I know sometimes this is listed by some folks, but I just want to stress, please reach out if you have any questions at all. Also, please stop by our table because I'm seeing a lot of faces that I haven't spoken to yet. We can get you some resources, myself and my colleague, Elisa Carr. So please come by. You can set up a one-on-one consultation with somebody from my team. We have all sorts of resources. So yes, please visit us after this presentation. All right. So today we'll be going over an introduction to our Small Business Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise Program. Those are the two certifications that the state of California honors and that my office manages. Go over the benefits of certification, eligibility for certification. We'll go over a little bit of CaliProcure, and I'm going to stress again, this is a website that takes some time to master. We're here to help. But this is just introductory into CaliProcure, which is the statewide marketplace for all procurement with the state of California. We'll also touch on the Small Business DVB Emergency Registry and quickly cover commercially useful function. That's the least exciting part of this, so I'll go through that quickly. All right, so first I'll start off with the pitch of why should you do business with the state of California. Well, the state of California, I think, is the 5th or even 4th largest economy on the planet and spends a lot. The state buys virtually everything. I couldn't guarantee that, but you'd be surprised what the state procures. And the state spends a lot of money. And by mandate, 25% of those state spend dollars have to go to small businesses, 3% have to go to disabled veteran business enterprise. And you can see right here, that is a lot of money. I mean, I think the state spent almost $14 billion, our most recent data that we have here, $3.55 billion, or 26.58% of all contract dollars went to certified small businesses. $625.8 million of all contract dollars went to DVBEs. And you'll notice we have the percentages there too. We hit both of our numbers statewide. The state has to hit that 25% number, and each individual agency has to hit that number. If they don't, they'll get in trouble with our office, our advocacy section. So there is incentive, essentially, for state agencies and the state as a whole to seek out and generate businesses with small businesses. All right, so as I mentioned earlier, the state has two state certifications: small business for the purposes of public works is sort of a sub-category there, and disabled veteran business enterprise designations. Now, the benefits, you get 5% bid preference for small businesses if you have our certification, up to 5% instead for DVBEs, and you all know those two can stack, so you can get up to 10% actually if you are both a DVBE and small business. You have access to exclusive contract opportunities, and what that looks like is there are certain acquisition methods that state agencies can use where they go out to bid to 2 small business firms or 2 DVBE firms. As a certified small business or DVBE, you have access to those opportunities. There are prompt payment considerations. You also have reciprocity partners, and this is very much applicable here. because there are municipal governments, utilities, school districts, they honor our certification. I know you guys probably, you're dealing with DVE certification, MOB certification, all sorts of certifications. This could potentially make it easier. Essentially, there are all sorts of entities that honor our certification once you get it. And also the opportunity to work with prime, large contractors. They have an incentive to work with certified small businesses because if a substantial portion of the work is granted to a subcontractor, they would have the advantage of our small business certification. So they have an incentive to seek out and work with small businesses. Now the requirements. So you have to be independently owned and operated, not dominant in your field of operation. You have to be principally located in California. The owners, in the case of a corporation officers, they have to be domiciled in California. You have to have 100 or fewer employees, and you have to make less than 18 million in gross annual receipts annually. In the case of a manufacturer, if your business manufactures, there is the 100 or fewer employee cap, but there isn't a gross annual receipts cap. Now, small business for the public works, this is relevant for today. These are the same as the SB requirements, except that number of employees at 200 and gross annual receipts are at 43 million. These are larger projects, so there's larger headroom on that designation. Okay, here recommend that you get one certification rather than both. Same benefits either way, but the small business for public works, that only applies for public works bid opportunities, whereas the small business, that applies to everything, including public works. So just a quick note on that. Now, disabled veteran business enterprise, that certification requires at least 10% service-related disability, 51% ownership by a disabled veteran, 100% in the case of an LLC. The veteran must reside in California. This is something that folks get tripped up on quite a bit. So, veteran owner has to reside in the state of California. It has to be managed and operated by disabled veterans. There can be, disabled veterans sort of in the mix, but not really managing and operating the firm. And it has to be headquartered in the United States. All right, any questions so far? Okay, and I'll stress a little later down the line, I'm going to throw up a QR code that you can use your phone, and you can schedule a one-on-one consultation with, there are about 8 people with the same title as me in our office. Anytime it works for you, so that'll be coming up a little later in the presentation. Or, of course, again, stop by our table. All right, next is Cal eProcure. Now this is big. This is the state's online procurement marketplace. We have, I think, about 200 state agencies on Cal eProcure. This is where you can find those bid opportunities. This is where you do your certifications. You can do your market research. You can post vendor ads. This is the site where you'll be doing most of your work if you want to contract with the state of California. So, like I said, this is where you register your business, apply for those certifications, and go through the certification process, where you can find solicitations, contracts. You can receive solicitation notifications. You would appear in searches by state buyers. So essentially, on your profile, an agency buyer can look up your business if you offer the goods and services that they're looking for. You can post ads seeking a prime, or you can, as a prime, post ads seeking a subcontractor. You have access to public procurement information, tons of public procurement information. We have all the active bid opportunities and all the past completed bids until about 2015. So there's a lot of data for doing that crucial market research. You can also get training and resources, and stress here, no cost. This is all free. It's paid for by your tax dollars, but no cost to participate. And this is what it looks like. If you do business with the state, if you are looking for the contracts, you will get tired of this website. This is what you'll be dealing with right here. California State Government Marketplace. To start, you would go to that login register button. And then to start the certification process, to start your profile, you go to new bidder registration. Here, we ask that you could voluntarily offer ethnicity, race, gender, sexual orientation information. I'll stress again that this is entirely voluntary. This is how we evaluate the effectiveness of our programs. If we have enough businesses that are reflective of how diverse this state is, geographically, by race, gender, sexual orientation, we want to know that we're doing the job that we've been tasked with by California taxpayers, and this is how we get that information. So if you would like to find that information, there's the link at the bottom there. All right, so continuing on, go to login, register. Once you've got your CalPUC set up, it's very, very easy to do, by the way. With log in here, and then you can get started with the certification process here. You can go to Get Started or Apply for certification. Get certified, apply or reapply, that button there. So after you've got your profile set up, you've got your certification and everything, you have to start defining your business in our system. And there are two ways to go about that. The first is keywords. Now these describe a good or service specifically, such as concrete, environmental, or legal. I have consultations with businesses, some of them have about more than 100 of these keywords because there's no one way to describe your business. Your business has many, many facets. Your business has many things that they can offer. So you will be entering many keywords, likely. So this is the way that buyers find your business in this marketplace that has many, many, many businesses competing and many, many buyers looking for your goods and services. You got to stand out. You got to do that marketing at this point here. So stress here that you pick the keywords, and a good rule of thumb here is just consider all the ways that your business could be found. This is just like in the private sector. You have to be creative. You have to define it in all sorts of ways. And this is the hard part. It's not as easy as keywords. I'm sure you guys are familiar with NAICS codes, NICS codes. Bad news, the state CalPUC really does not really use those. We use United Nations Standard Products and Services Code. They look like this right here. The difference is NICS codes, they sort of define an industry, whereas these get very, very, very specific. Because when Caltrans is looking for someone to do concrete testing, quality assurance on one of their projects, they're going to be very, very specific about what it is they need. And you're going to want to have the appropriate UNSPSC code in your profile and when you're searching for those opportunities. So you'll see here, this is an example. You can see hierarchies. At the top, that level 1, that's the broadest definition of a good or service. It's 1-4 with a bunch of zeros. That's paper materials and products. Generally, that's not how agencies are going to search. They're going to be a little bit more specific. They're probably going to be at level 3 or level 4. You can see fewer zeros at the bottom. Same root, 1-4. but 1411507 is paper materials and products, business use, printing and writing, printer or copier paper. So this is what the state uses because they need to be at that level of specificity. These United Nations Standard Products and Services Code, they essentially define all human economic activity down to this level of specificity. This is the hardest part in many ways of just setting up your profile. And this is another invitation to you guys to set up a one-on-one consultation with us because we know how to search these things out. We can help you to find these UNSPSC codes whenever you need. Any questions? Oh, yeah. There's going to be a QR code a little later in this presentation. You can use your phone. Also, you can come by our table over there, and we also have the QR code there as well. Yeah. Oh, sorry. What's that? Sorry? Is there a limit to the number of codes that you want to code? No. Hmm. And your advice is to go. Okay. What we're told is generally the searches are going to happen at that level 3, level 4 level. I've done the research. Sometimes it does happen at that level 1, that really broad. Because if you think about it, the buyers, they might not. Everybody's going to define what they need differently. So it is better to err on the side of more codes, more keywords. Having too many generally won't mess with your profile and make you less visible. Are there requirements attached to the you have to prove that you do that or something? Yeah, there's probably going to be a lot of stipulations when you're dealing with the actual buyer or the contract manager, including like you need certain licensing, you need to be bonded, these sorts of things. That would be specific to the bidding opportunity that you're doing. Yeah. You want to include some of that so that you can have that, right? No. You said, would you get kicked out if you? No, I was saying that you want to be at least that net originally. Yeah. And then naturally you want to do all your due diligence once you're bidding on a particular event. Yeah. So to find those active contracting opportunities, we have the California State Contracts Register, the CSCR. And to get to it, you would log in. And then right at the top there, you can just start the search. So, and even before you got your certifications or anything, once you've got your profile, you can just start searching for opportunities right away. We recommend using the advanced search for this. This is where you find fields for UNSPSC codes, keywords, those sorts of things. So pretty much, unless you know the specific event or bid opportunity or department that you want to look for, go to the advanced search. And you can see you have those items descriptions, UNSPSC codes, service areas, counties that you can enter in, and even contractor license types. And this is what that search looks like right here. You can see the event ID for the specific bidding opportunity, the description of the event, and when I say event, this essentially means a particular opportunity to bid. specific project or procurement. You have the department name, the end date, and status. So when you're looking to do the bid, you would go to the event. So you can see this one: remove and construct concrete bridge, concrete slab, bridge rail, and HMA. This is a specific bid opportunity. You can see this one calls for contract license type. They specify the area. In this case, it is San Luis Obispo. There are details about the event, small description, contact information, very important. These are the people that you'll actually be working with. These are the folks that can answer specific questions about this bid opportunity. Also, you can see the view event package. That's where you'll do all of your studying, all of your homework before you bid on this. I would also point out the end date, very important. All businesses, big or small, you have to adhere to that end date. Any other question? Yeah, perfectly fine to ask that question in the contract, as long as you're directing to them, because we don't do any of the contracting process. But yeah, there are research for you to ask those sorts of questions. Certainly. And usually, I mean, they'll tell you if it's something up in. Yeah. Or they don't know, or they don't have that information. That's why, actually, I don't know why it wasn't listed earlier, but I'm going to go over another resource, which is small business advocates. Each department that spends, I think, $100,000, they have to have a small business advocate, and that is another point of contact for you to proactively ask those questions. Yeah. What's this there? There's post vendor ads. That's where you would post those ads seeking a sub, seeking a prime to work with. So yeah, this is a page you should get familiar with if you're looking to move forward with state contracting. Oh, questions? Yeah.
Can you go back to that page? Those vendor ads are prior to getting the information by the partner?
Yeah, you could post an ad. I'm looking for a sub to work with to do specifically these parts of the job. This is how we connect businesses to work on a project together. Mm-hmm. All right, here's the fun stuff. We talked about how to find those active bid opportunities. Well, what about past awarded bids? For that, you would look at the State Contract and Procurement Registration System, mercifully called SKIPPers. That's what we call it at the office, so we're going to refer to it as SKIPPers. So SKIPPers is a database of state purchasing. It includes state and non-state dollars, public facing, and it is a great way to do that crucial market research. So to get there, you go to find public procurement information. The second option, State Contracting and Procurement Registration System, SKIPPers. And this is what it looks like. So here they did a search for construction. Even that search is a little bit too broad because, yeah, you got 23,977 results. I would not recommend putting in construction. Here you want to be pretty specific because this is information that goes all the way back to 2015. So don't just put in construction or else your computer might fry. Here, again, we recommend using that advanced search criteria. And here is where you can search relevant UNSPSC codes, departments, This is where you can find out who has been buying what you sell. And once you do that, that's when you can start reaching out and doing your proactive marketing with advocates. This is a great way to research who's been buying, what they've been buying, when, how much was spent, and importantly, who got awarded the contract. You can see which one of your competitors or whoever's in the space has been getting the contracts and from where. All right, any questions on this? Here it is. So, advocates. I brought up skippers. You can find out what agencies have been buying your particular goods and services. But if you wanted to contact those agencies, how should you go about it? Well, earlier I talked about the procurement officer, the contract manager. They are just one of presumably many, many, many in a large state agency, especially like Caltrans or something. You may want to, in fact, we encourage you to go to the Small Business DB Advocates. Now, these are state employees. They work in purchasing and procurement, and they can be a manager, an analyst, and every department that spends at least $100,000 a year, which is, I would think, all of them, has to have a advocate. And these are the people who get in trouble if their agency does not hit that 25% we talked about earlier. Their job is to advocate for and get as many small businesses working with that agency as possible. These are the people that you can give your capability statement to, provided your capability statement has UNSPSC codes, your certification information. These are the folks that you can proactively market your business to. You can be in mind for future contracting opportunities. They can get your capability statement in front of whichever procurement officer is working, is looking to buy what you're offering. And these are the folks to do that marketing to. So, yeah. They help certified businesses contract with their department. They can assist businesses with prompt payment issues. They can help buyers, their agencies, find and use certified businesses, and it is their job to seek out new certified businesses, expand the pool of suppliers. To find these folks, you go to Find Training and Resources. And the very small button there, contact a small business and DB advocate. And then the directory here. This is what it looks like. So you can see Air Resources Board, Sharon Flores. You can see her address, her contact information more to the right off the screen there. This is how you would find those people that you could email. You should probably do it every couple months or so with your capability statement. Ask them. Have there been any opportunities? Who have you worked with in the past? Do you know of any procurement opportunities coming up? These folks, they have to be in the know. It's their job. These are great resources for you guys to use. So any questions? I'm not sure if CPUC is going to provide that, but anybody here, any of you, my information, come to my table, yeah, I can send this to you. Absolutely. Okay, so another part of this, and unfortunately, pretty relevant part, is the SB DVE Emergency Registry. Last year, during the LA wildfires, we had actually sent out a gov delivery to firms to sign up for this. We got a lot of uptake because, unfortunately, this, like I said, is very relevant. The registry is separate from CalAPIR. It's a list of state-certified businesses, and it is used by State Department buyers to quickly find small business DVDs that can work in the event of an emergency. So, crucial here to specify, businesses have to be ready for emergency contract work, ready and able to perform emergency contract work, and it is a predetermined category of goods and services. You have to provide one of those to get on the registry. And yes, this is a list, just a small portion of those particular services. And I'll just give an example to sort of elucidate this. One of these events, I met somebody from the Bay Area who provided forklifts in an emergency situation. They got on the registry and they had to fulfill an order for an emergency, I think, flood situation in Northern California. They did it very quickly. The rules for procurement are somewhat relaxed in the event of an emergency, so this is a great opportunity to get in, show what you can do, earn some money. In the case of this business, it was a huge success for them. It allowed them to work with that agency in the future. So this is a great way to get in. So you can see here, emergency registry categories, see everything from base camp operations to roadway maintenance, traffic control, all sorts of categories to get into the emergency registry. And to do so, you're going to need, crucially, your certification number. One of those emergency categories, got to have at least one. A description of your products and services, and here I got to be more specific. You got to be more specific. Like say if you did debris removal, that agency is going to want to know how many trucks you have, how many workers you could sell them quickly, how much debris you could move, all that specific information if they're going to reward you that emergency contract. Also going to need business address and critically your contact information, both primary and emergency, because you will be getting calls 24 hours a day. They can come in at any time because emergencies happen at any time. So to get on the registry, you go to Sell to the State, SBDB Emergency Contracting at the bottom there. All right, so I told you guys to go over the boring part at the end here. So commercially useful function. Yeah, absolutely. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to be specific because some of the complaints we got with some of the businesses that were on the registry just weren't giving that sort of information. They were saying, we do debris removal, but you're wondering what specific information they would. contact information, I can connect you with the emergency registry team. There is a specific group within DGS that does emergency contracting, and we can maybe connect you with them. Just, straight out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Alright, commercially useful function. So, your business performs commercially useful function if you are executing a distinct element of the work, performing managing or supervising work, performing work that's normal for the firm's business services and functions, if you are negotiating price, determining quality and quantity, ordering, installing, and making payment, and if you're not subcontracting a portion of the work greater than expected by industry practices. And crucially, you are not performing a commercially useful function if you're being used as a pass-through to obtain the appearance of SBDBE participation, if you're not being used to perform the work as stipulated in the bid, or if you're no longer being used to provide the goods or services listed in the initial bid response. Essentially, the state does not want firms to be just used as fronts to get the appearance of SB participation by a non-SB firm. So we have rules like this we have to follow, and a compliance team on the back end to make sure everybody's playing by the rules. All right, so here I'd like to just highlight some resources for you. Small business development centers, I've seen them today. They offer business consulting, planning, marketing, and access to capital. Apex accelerators for established businesses. They know so much about government contracting. They can help you local, state, federal. And for newer businesses, check out SCORE for some business mentorship. All right, to review, we had an introduction to the SBDB program, the benefits certification, eligibility for certification, went over Cal Procure briefly, touched on SBDBE emergency registry, and commercially useful function. Here, I'd like to invite all of you to stay in touch with us on LinkedIn. And here's what I was talking about. This is that one-on-one consultation. I said we talked about Cal Procure briefly. We can go in depth, look at your profile in real time over Microsoft Teams using this link right here. You can schedule with one of the business outreach liaisons, and we can go over things, help you out in real time. Provides introduction to state contracting, registration and certification. We can update your Cal Procure profiles, make sure that they're up to snuff, and help you find contract opportunities and do that market research I had talked about earlier. So I have it up here for you guys to get, but stop by the table and you can also check out the QR codes there. All right, thank you everybody for participating today. Again, my contact information. Swing on by if you want my business card, and please come to the table because we love having you guys.